Welcome back to my channel. You already know it's your boy Hood Diggity the Rock Reactor back with another video. Yes, sir. Before I forget, let me know what country you tapping in from. Let me know what city you're watching me from. Let me know what let me know what cave you're watching me from. Let me know what island you're watching me from. Represent your hood. Now, we're about to get serious. I'm about to do something out of the norm. Not what I normally do. I've been having this in mind for months. A lot of viewers requested this, recommended I do this. I felt as though I needed to do this, whether it was yesterday or today or tomorrow. It was something I had to do because it would be incomplete. Me slowly but surely turning into a renegade and being so invested in REN that there was no way that I would not have to check this out, whether it's reacting to it, pressing record, or just on my own time. I decided to do it reacting because I would have my renegades to guide me. I would be able to, whatever I didn't catch, somebody's going to help me out. And I would say that this is going to be, I'm going to enjoy this, but I have a feeling it's not all going to be enjoyable. It is going to be an interesting experience because I know REN's trials and tribulations is not all going to be enjoyable. But a lot of people did recommend this. Some people even said they would donate if I was to do this. If you still would like to do it, it will be greatly appreciated. My PayPal account is on the description. It will be greatly appreciated if you guys would like to do it. And like I said, without further ado, man, this is going to be something out of the norm. I've been wanting to do this for a while, man. Let's get right to it, man. This is REN Chapter 1. Let's get right to it, man. I'm a little bit nervous. I'm a little bit edgy. But, like I said, let's get right to it, man.
Hello, everyone. This is the first time I've done something like this before. I wanted to write it down because there's a lot and I didn't want to miss anything. And some parts of this might be a little bit uncomfortable to listen to, but I wanted to stay as true as possible to the story, not miss anything, for the sake of people who might be going through something similar, or for the sake of people who don't but want to help understand a little bit more. Yeah. I promise that everything in this story is 100% true. Nothing is exaggerated for dramatic effect. Some names I don't mention and some details I don't go too far into or downplay them for the sake of the people around me. Timelines might occasionally be a little bit off, but that's just because I've had to write everything from memory from a time that was quite hazy. I ask before embarking on this journey with me that you all respect the privacy of myself and the people around me. You might be compelled to reach out to some of the people that I mention, cast judgment, praise them, criticize them, and I ask you kindly not to. It's my choice to be in the public eye, and it's mine alone. This is the first time my story is on the public record in a concise way. Being in the public eye is strange. The more that I give to you, the less that I get to keep for myself. I don't find the experience of sharing particularly enjoyable. I don't so much like the questions that follow. And I'm not a medical expert, so I don't like to be seen as somebody with all the answers, because I don't have them. And because of the empathy that I feel, I'm compelled to try and help as many people as possible. But the last time I opened myself up to this on a one-on-one basis, I was surrounded by a lot of death. And there simply weren't enough hours in the day. So I ask you, if you need support, please reach out to a professional or use my music as your companion. I share my story in hopes that somebody who needs it finds it, that it provides hope, that it might ease the suffering for the people like me. I like my solitude, so I ask that anyone who respects the work I make and respects my contribution to the world to respect my solitude. A lot happened in my teenage years, and I didn't live the most normal of lives, but I'll save that story for another time. The important thing to contextualize this story is that I was full of life. I was full of a burning desire to change the world. The flaws in how we interact seemed obvious to me. I believed in people's power to change the unnecessary suffering we inflict upon ourselves. I was also enamored with music. Music is the closest thing to God that I have. It's a gateway to the unexplainable, and it's a way of communicating the inexpressible.
I believe music is the closest thing to God that we all have. It's just not all of us recognizes this, man. And it's crazy. So far, what I think is that there is just so much to Ren. Like just listening to a Ren song, you would dismiss it because you would need to know the whole story behind it. And as you listen to them, you will start saying, "Wow, look at this! Wow, look at this! Wow, look at this!" My thing with Ren is that I believe that I started on the wrong foot. I don't think I should have started with high Ren. I should have started with something and then just ease it up little by little. But there's just so much to this guy, man. Let's continue to listen.
There's just one moment I want to share with you from the years before I got sick. I was 17 and I felt indestructible. I'm not sure why, but my whole life I had this feeling inside myself that I was meant to do something important, not for myself, not for praise, not for personal gain, but something that would change the world for the better. It's hard to describe it without coming across like an egomaniac or having some sort of God complex, but I felt like I had some sort of divine purpose. And I remember feeling this so strongly that one afternoon after school, I stood in the centre of my bedroom and I spoke loud into an empty void. I said that I would single-handedly take on and defeat the forces of evil, and I welcomed them to try their best. Throughout the years, that memory stuck with me, taunting me sometimes. Flash forward to 2019. I remember the first day I knew something was wrong very well. I woke up in an unfamiliar room in Cardiff, feeling like a raven had perched itself upon my heart. Every time my heart beat, it's like some part of me was aware of the foreboding death sentence that was to come. Some sort of primal instinctive dread. Everything felt wrong, and I felt prosthetic, like I could tear my own skin off and observe though I was watching passively from another room. The night before, I'd been in Cardiff visiting friends in university. It was the end of summer, we'd gone out to a few bars. I wasn't really enjoying myself. That year I'd been struggling with social anxiety, perhaps from years of abusing my brain with a whole pick and mix and selection of party drugs. Engaging with society felt like stepping into the ring with a heavyweight champion. Every single fucking question felt like an oncoming haymaker I had to socially navigate because of my very limited toolkit of charisma at the time. I don't know why I cared about being liked so much, but the more I cared, the less equipped I became to have a simple human conversation. I used to deal with this by getting fucking hammered. That night was no exception. I got smashed, lost my phone, and woke up in a strange apartment. In the bed opposite mine was a snoring rugby player and his girlfriend.
Oh, shit.
Everything just seemed off, and it wasn't a hangover. My first thought was I'd been spiked. I quietly gathered all my belongings and left before anyone could wake up and punch me with a conversation. I wandered around the grey Cardiff in a haze, feeling like I've just been rigged up to an IV bag full of ketamine and cyanide, and the whole world just seemed off, like I was looking at it through a tunnel. A heavy feeling of fear clung around me like a straitjacket. The only comforting thought was that with enough time, rest and water, it would pass. But it didn't. For 8 long years, it didn't. And this is my story of an 8-year-long nightmare. I returned back to my dad's home. He was living with his partner at the time. It wasn't my home, so I already felt uncomfortable and out of place. These unusual symptoms persisted. I figured I'd caught some sort of virus and I'd get better with time. But by the end of the week, things were a lot worse. I took myself to the doctor and he said he thought it sounded viral, that if I went home and got enough rest, it would eventually pass. And it didn't. For 8 years, it didn't. I returned for my second year of university. My brain was full of fog and my body felt poisoned. There were intermittent days where I felt like a hollow suit of skin. I'd sit in lectures unable to focus and was devoid of any sort of personality. I'd be able to have basic conversations, yeses and nos, but I was stripped of the ability to think spontaneously. It's like my body was taking up so much processing power being sick that I could not have original or spontaneous thought. The most peculiar thing about this was there was a me that was aware that this was all happening and was observing it from outside of myself, locked out, screaming silently, banging on the walls of my mind to be let in, and never successfully. And nonetheless, there I was, like a ghost haunting myself. My usual routine was getting home, running a shower and curling up into a ball to cry underneath the running water, not understanding what was going on. I brought myself to the doctors numerous times during this period, requesting every blood test they'd let me have, often being dismissed and told things like stress from university can cause strange symptoms. But how come no one I knew in university could relate to this? Eventually I was put on a 6-month-long waiting list to see a mental health specialist.
I think at this time he was in an unknown state of depression. It was just and help me out, guys. Right now, his depression is growing inside, and right now it does, based on what he's saying, it does sound like it's a brain issue. It's mental health just growing little by little, but it has to do with depression. Him coming home and curling into a ball, that's straight depression.
Who did a short one-page questionnaire and wrongly diagnosed me as hypercycling bipolar and put me on a course of citalopram. After a few weeks, it stole my ability to sleep. I was told to stick it out and it would level out, and eventually I'd feel more like myself. I stuck it out and I got worse, and I pulled myself off it after 2 weeks in a row of sleepless nights and insomnia.
You know what's crazy, guys, that when you and this happened to a cousin of mine, when you in the mental health, until she eventually passed away, but when you have mental health and it's growing and growing, it's a double-edged sword. It's like there's no going back, because the medications itself, and I've seen this with a lot of people, the medications itself gets you worse. The medications itself, it doesn't really get you better. Because if it fucks you up one way, it fixes a little bit something, but it fucks you up in another way. So there's no going back. It's only going to get worse, unless, of course, you try to fix yourself up in some way. But medication, once you're on medication, that's it. There's no going back.
There's something pretty peculiar about being told you're in some sort of spectrum of madness. Even if you suspect that you're mad, your diagnosis finds a way to claw itself into your identity, even if it doesn't belong to you. Ever since I was a child, I'd always be asking what and why and how things worked. I couldn't really accept things as they were without knowing how. I carried into my adult years, and so as the bipolar hammer crashed and sentenced itself into my reality, I began searching online for behaviours associated with it, people's first-hand experiences, what it felt like to be manic. In these earlier days of my illness, the symptoms would fluctuate in severity day by day. Some days I'd be in a thick, tired fog, and other days they'd be more merciful. I began to associate the days of not suffering as mania, and would act more erratically on the days that my symptoms were less bothersome. I did things like climbing out of windows of a 6-story student accommodation, or get so drunk I'd wake up outside of the university campus lawn. But it wasn't mania. I just wasn't hurting. I spent one day a week with my therapist, who was teaching me cognitive behavioural therapy. The issue was, mentally reframing unexplainable symptoms caused a lot of cognitive dissonance for me. I was told my anxiety or depression was causing my symptoms, but in reality it was my symptoms which were making me anxious and depressed. So I was in some sort of inescapable bind. I devotedly work on my...
See, that's what I said. There's no coming back, because you get hit from all angles. One thing hits you, and then the medication. The medication, mental health medication, there's no coming back from that. Once you're on mental health, unless you get out of it. But really, mental health medication, and I've been told this by a lot of people that have gone through this. Mental health medication, once you do it, if you don't get off of it, if you try to stay on mental health medications thinking that you're going to get better, you're not. Nah, you only improve if you find a way to get off of it.
Mental health, following every new tool for coping to the letter, only to have my symptoms get worse, which made me frustrated, raised the intensity of my treatment, only to get even more frustrated as my body seemed to deteriorate. After 6 months, I told my mum I'd happily saw off my own leg with a blunt knife if it meant my symptoms would vanish, and I meant it. I told her if I had to live with this strange feeling for one more year, I'd kill myself, and I meant that too. But something happened that winter which showed me firsthand the horrors and the fallout from suicide. I met Joe when I was 9 years old. I remember the first time clearly. I was standing in his living room when he turned to me and he was like, "Watch this." Then he proceeded to climb on top of his sofa and did a front flip onto a stone living room floor. He landed on his back and lay motionless for a few seconds before grinning, getting up, and then doing it all over again. We grew up terrorising the streets of the small village we grew up in, playing knock door run or breaking into people's gardens to play on their trampolines. We stayed friends throughout high school, going through various phases together. Joe was comedian of the group. I remember countless mornings after messy all-nighters, Joe would be cracking endless jokes like a professional stand-up routine, and we'd all be in tears laughing. When I started writing my first songs, Joe and Sega were the first people who always knew every word, and they would sing along at the top of their lungs. They gave me a lot of self-belief, and they helped me build the foundation of what I do today, and I owe them a lot for that. That Christmas, I came back home to Wales from university. On Christmas Eve, me and Joe were sat in a pub, and he turned to me and he told me that he'd fantasized about walking into the sea until he was totally submerged. He had a pretty morbid sense of humour, so I didn't really take him as seriously as I should have. 2 days later, it's 3 a.m, and I get a phone call. It's my friend Ella. She tells me that Joe is on the bridge by my house. He was drunk, he'd called her up, and he told her he was going to jump. I was still half asleep. I fumbled, pulling on whatever clothes I could that were near, and I walked out of the front door, and the winter air stung my face and it woke me up. Adrenaline kicked in, and I started sprinting towards the bridge. It was about a 5-minute walk, a 2.5-minute sprint. As I was running, I dialed Joe's number, and I get a busy tone, and I felt relief because it meant he was still alive. I kept hitting redial as I ran, and as I got about halfway to the bridge, the busy tone changes. I get an automated voice note saying the number's out of service, and my heart sunk.
Damn.
I got to the suspension bridge that connects Anglesey to the mainland, and it usually looks very beautiful. I sprint up and down the bridge yelling Joe's name, and silence, and it's deafening. And I peer over the bridge into the blackness, and the bridge sits about 100 feet above the water. Hitting cold water at that height is like smashing into concrete, and the waters are notoriously dangerous because of the cross current. I hear nothing, no sounds, nothing. I run up and down the bridge about 2 times before I spot a figure at the end of it, and my heart jumps into my throat, and I run towards the figure, and it's my friend Ricky who's had the same call, and we both run around up and down the bridge and around the surrounding area looking for Joe. More of his friends eventually arrive, and there's nothing.
You know, guys, this as he's talking about this, I remember reacting to the song where he's playing the guitar on stage and his hair is not even combed, and I remember that then my viewers, you guys told me the story about what happened, but nobody really, I don't remember anybody actually going into detail like this, that he was running and he was just, when he jumped off the bridge, Ben was like close, a couple miles away. I didn't know this, so this see, that's crazy, because when you listen to his songs, there's always a story behind it, or there's always a piece of the puzzle. But let me keep watching this.
I was about a minute too late.
Wow.
We spent the next week walking up and down beaches with flashlights, and when it's that dark, every other large rock starts to look like a washed up body. We plastered all the neighbouring towns in missing posters, contacting whoever we could, someone who might know something. We checked bank records to see if any money had been withdrawn since he went missing. There was CCTV footage of him walking onto the bridge, but there wasn't any of him coming off. But there were dead zones in the footage, so there was still a small chance he could be alive. I was sleeping about 3 hours a night, pretty determined that we'd still find him.
Damn.
For about 10 days we had nothing, and then suddenly a call comes through while we're all at my friend Miles's house having food. It's the police. A body had been found in the water by the bridge. We piled into my friend's car. I remember being in the back seat in floods of tears, repetitively punching the back of the passenger seat as we drove to the scene.
Damn.
As we pull up, I saw a lifeless body being zipped up into a green bag near a parked ambulance. Its skin was bloated by the seawater, and it wasn't Joe. Someone else decided to jump that day. Joe was never found.
Damn.
It's difficult to truly let go when you can't say goodbye. For months following, I held on to this fantasy that we'd get a call that he'd run away to some European town and he was happy and he was healthy. But that call never came. The time during his inquest was also around the time I was struggling with the side effects of a new antidepressant. I remember sitting in the courtroom feeling like I was listening to the whole thing deep underwater. The judge felt the circumstances surrounding Joe's death didn't mean The judge felt that the circumstances surrounding Joe's death meant that the verdict was left open. It kind of stung even more to not have an official ruling of suicide. I remember going to visit his mum not long after and witnessing the aftermath of a mother grieving for her baby boy. The silence of his father, the tears of his mother. I decided that day that I'd have to wait until my illness killed me because I couldn't do it by choice. I couldn't put my family through that. Over the next 10 years, I returned to my hometown, only a handful of times following Joe's death. My last visit was in the summer of last year. I reconnected with Joe's parents and showed them a song that I'd written, simply entitled For Joe. We cried together, reminisced together, joked, and I'm proud to say that I gave Joe's mum enough money to afford a caravan she told me she'd been saving up for. That felt pretty good. We'd also do a fundraiser for the Royal National Lifeboat Institution, who were integral for searching for Joe during that time, and we raised a pretty good amount of money too. Being able to give back in whatever small way I could felt good, and it felt right for all the years Joe had made us all laugh till it hurt. He was a solid person.
Wow, man, that's just touching me, man. That's my hair is standing up, man. This is crazy. And it's crazy how I heard the song and I reacted to the song, and it would never feel nothing like this. Like, this is like the piece to the puzzle that was missing, because if you just hear the song, it just sounds like a regular song. It does sound like a melancholic song, like a sad song, but you will never appreciate it as much if you don't know the story. This is like a piece of the puzzle. It's like watching a part 2 of a movie. It's like watching a part 3 of a movie. And then you watch the first part and you're like, oh, so that's what happened. Wow. And it hits you because it's like that puzzle is completed in your head. Anyway, let's keep watching. By the way, I was going to say also that I'm going to say that REN-s trials and tribulations is also his superpowers. And there's a lot of people like that. That their trials and tribulation, their mishaps, it is also a superpower because they're able to use it as a positive. But anyway, let's keep watching, man. REN is incredible.
Just a little lost, as we all are sometimes. And I miss him.
I bet you does.
Life was about to take an even more unusual turn, and I was about to meet the first angel of this story. So stay tuned for that.
Always a piece of the puzzle. Somebody had told me, because I said, yo, REN plays this instrument, he plays this instrument, he plays this. And somebody had told me there's a song that he actually plays the piano. And I remember it was a long time ago. Somebody said in this song, whatever, he plays the piano. And here it is. It's crazy.
It's hard to take off from the ground when your wings are cut. Your stomach burns when you're drinking from an empty cup. You know the entire ocean came from my tear ducts. I see the world through Fibonacci sequences and double Dutch. I guess there's some that's born lucky, there's some that's not. I tried to cut away my bitterness, hatchet job. I locked my youth inside the trunk, inside the pickup truck, then dumped that whole thing over that same bridge the night you jumped. I think about that sometimes, vividly. What it felt like to look down and see tranquility. One sudden movement in a world of possibility. Only one movement to expose our fragility. I fucking miss you, and I miss myself. I miss thinking we were indestructible as hell. I miss chilling by the pier cave and kicking back with Callum, Hugo, Justin, Sega, Stevie and the fucking lads. I miss missing that. I numb myself to close the gap. I never even call them up. Distance is my plaster cast, to tell the truth. The day you jumped, my childhood jumped too. But I still can't find the anger. All I find is missing you, man, I miss you. With all my rhymes, I picture running 5 minutes quicker, I'm right on time. I picture pulling you back over the edge and then we're crying. And holding you, my brother, and telling you that it's fine. Not the way that it worked, I was late like a jerk. There's not a day where I can find a way to break from the hurt. Your body missing, so we never got to wave to the hearse. I hope you're listening, I love you, man, I miss you, absurd, fuck.
As he's saying that, man, it reminded me. See, I don't know if I have said this before. I got two brothers that they both died. They both passed away. They died of natural cause. They both died of AIDS. And I missed them dearly. And this is something that I try not to think about it. You don't think about it because you just think about, well, they're in heaven. You know, they're watching you. And you try to move on and just keep them in your heart, of course. This was years ago. My brother Henry, my oldest brother, died in 2012. My brother Alex died in 2003. So this was a while back. This was a couple of years ago. So, but when you listen to things like this, when you listen to songs like this, no matter who you are, you're always going to think of a loved one that passed away. Because he's hitting that. He's touching that nerve. Let's continue.
Another domino, it falls. Across the way another's born. How you're supposed to raise a child and give it courage from a storm. In a world that is confusing, contradictions pave our flaws. Some will say we're only human, others judge us for our flaws. Some get born in sheets of satin, some get by in tattered clothes. Some will die before they live, that's just how the story goes. But for those of...
hold up, let me rewind this right here. Wow.
Raise a child and give it courage from a storm. In a world that is confusing, contradictions pave our flaws. Some will say we're only human, others judge us.
Some will say we're only human, others judge us for our flaws.
Some get born in sheets of satin.
Yeah, this one. Some get born in sheets of satin. This guy's a crazy artist, man. This guy just shoots you in the heart like crazy.
Some get by in tattered clothes.
Damn, yo. But he just finished saying it's so true. Some get born in sheets of satin and some get by in tattered clothes. Some survive in tattered clothes. Some they have tattered clothes, but they still make it by.
Some will die before they live, that's just how the story goes. But for those of us still with us, who reside inside our hearts, tell them proudly how you feel. And for those of us who aren't, freckled angels stand strong. Freckled
angels, yeah, that was the name of the song, I forgot.
Angels live on, freckled angels climb higher. Freckled angels still inspire. Freckled angels won't forget you. Teach me to live my life better. 13 years and still I miss you. Now my wings are missing feather. Otherwise I'd come and join you. But for now I'm here on...
If this is the same Freckled Angels, guys, please bear with me. I reacted to that song a while ago, months ago, so I don't have it in my head that this is the actual song. And especially when he was just playing the guitar with it. But let's continue to listen, just in case. Because you say, well, he already heard it. I heard it, but I heard it that time. I haven't heard it again.
Earth, stuck inside this mortal body. But for everything it's worth. Made me braver, made me wiser, made me stronger, made me true. Made me face the world with courage. And that's all because of you. Freckled angels laugh the hardest, and their hearts, they are the largest. With their wings, they fly the farthest.
I remember that.
So I know you're gonna be okay.
Yeah, I remember that. So I know you're gonna be okay. Freckled, yeah, he killed it right there, man. Wow.
Freckled angels laugh the hardest, and their hearts, they are the largest. With their wings, they fly the farthest. So I know you're gonna be okay. Freckled angels live the longest.
This is taking me back because I remember how I felt when I heard this part, this chorus on Freckled Angels. It's like he touched me. Let me rewind it one more time. I remember this now. I remember for the Freckled Angels chorus. Damn. I'm just stunned, guys. I'm touched.
Freckled angels laugh the hardest, and their hearts, they are the largest. With their wings they fly the farthest, so I know you're gonna be okay. Freckled angels live the longest, and their minds, they are the strongest. Oh, their friends, they are the fondest, so I know you're gonna be okay.
Wow. God damn. Touched, man. Because I remember that song when I reacted to it, how it hit me. Guys, man, you know what I just noticed? It's like so many pieces of the puzzles, things that I didn't understand. And this is also the same thing that happened to me when I was gonna react to Cujo Beat without actually checking out that video. Why I believe it was REN was taken off, and it's crazy. No, Sick Boy was taken off, and it's like I didn't understand. I was reacting to it. I was reacting to Sick Boy, but I didn't understand. I was reacting to Freckled Angels, but it's just a song I'm reacting to, but I don't know the story behind it. I recommend a lot of people to check this out, man. If you're really a REN-s fan, you cannot be a renegade. You cannot be a REN-s fan if you don't check this out, man. Because right now I'm just touched because it's like a puzzle. The way I see it is like a puzzle where I have a lot of pieces of the puzzles in there, but I didn't really understand those pieces of the puzzle. I just know that they go there, and I'm looking at it and I'm picturing, well, this is something. But watching this video, it put like 5 or 6 pieces on those puzzles next to those pieces that I have reacted to. The pieces representing the songs I've reacted to. It's like, wow, so it was like this. Especially the full Joe story. I didn't know that. I also never actually had a big understanding of how, because I did read what some viewers say, but I never really I've never really understood the whole. It's like I said, it's just like that. It's like a piece of the puzzle. People explaining to me, and that I know bits and pieces. But right now, I see it. Especially, I understand it now. Of course, there's still a lot of chapters to go, but this is like a big piece of the puzzle. I think any REN-s fans, I recommend that you watch this. Because if not, there's a lot of things you're not going to understand. And there's a lot of things that you would appreciate and value about REN. And say, wait a minute, yo, this guy, there's so much deepness to this guy, man. This guy is like I'm willing to compare him to a Jesus Christ, man. And what's crazy is that his mental health, his trials and tribulations, the thing that he went with Joe, I guess Joe is like an angel looking out for him upstairs. Because all that is a superpower. Because I read comments of people talking about REN. You saved my life. You did this. You walked this, and that's a superpower. I'm not gonna continue to talk about it because I would go on for days and days talking about REN, man. This helped me appreciate REN a lot more, and I like to thank each and every viewer that recommended me doing this. I'm glad that I didn't just read it and say, okay, I'm glad that I kept in mind, and I'm glad that you guys kept telling me or suggesting I do it, because it answers a lot of questions and it helps me value REN more. Like I said, I could go on and on and on about this, guys. I'm going to stop because the video is too long. Look out for chapter 2. I'm definitely, see, now I'm hooked. I'm definitely, whether I get views or don't get no views, if you guys want to donate, like I said, I would greatly appreciate it. My PayPal account is in the description. Whatever you can do, it will be greatly appreciated. But like I said, I'm hooked, man. I'm hooked. I'm doing chapter 2 very soon. So look out for it, guys. I'm also going to put Freckled Angels in the, at the end of this video. So make sure you check it out, because it's gonna explain what I'm talking about. That I actually liked it, the song, for what it was, but I will never appreciate it as much as I would appreciate it now that I know the actual backstory to it. Guys, you already know. Let me share up, subscribe, hit the notification, guys. Hit the notification bell, hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Please support my channel. Hit the like button, share this video with your peoples. In the meantime, peace, love, and God bless.